happened 6 days in a row. 6 days in a row. Hey guys, what's up? My name is Miranda and welcome to my channel. So today I was gonna do a video on my worst date. I will do that video eventually, but I was reminded about my awful roommate experience. The story is like insane. Without further ado, let me just get into the story of my psychotic roommate. So let's take it back to 18-year-old Miranda. I worked at a pizza restaurant. I was a server. I met a girl while working there and, you know, we got along well. I didn't think we would be friends outside of work because we had very different personality types. She was very much into like video games and stuff like that, and my whole life I've been into like fashion and like interior design and, you know, but we did get along very well. So after I quit, I really didn't think that we would keep in touch, honestly, and surprisingly we did. We didn't really hang out much, but we would text often and, you know, just check up on each other to see how we were doing. And her boyfriend ended up breaking up. So she was in need of a roommate and I desperately wanted to move out of my parents' house. So I ended up moving in with her. What made it really cool though was her boyfriend was still going to be on the lease for 3 months after I moved in, and then after the 3 months we were just going to re-sign the lease and take his name off and put mine on it. We were just going to use those 3 months as kind of a trial period, which I thought was awesome because that was my first time actually living with a roommate. She gives me the key to start moving stuff in, and I wasn't going to move in for about a week, but she was like, okay, well, just like after work, just bring some stuff over every day, so like at the end of the week, whenever your parents are going to help you move in, you don't have as big of a load. And I'm like, okay, like that's a great idea. So I start moving stuff in, and I realize that my room is still filled with shit. So I'm like, okay, there's trash all in it, there's clothes in it, like it's disgusting in there. But I ask her, I'm like, hey, when are you gonna get that done? And she's like, okay, well, I'll do it like tonight or tomorrow, it'll be done so you can start putting stuff in. And I'm like, fantastic. The house was also a wreck. Like there were dishes piled like sky high with fruit flies around them, and she had dirty clothes all in the living room, and it was just gross. It made the house look crowded, but really she only had a couch, a TV, and then the kitchen table, which had 2 chairs that were mixed matched. It was pretty gross. And you know, that was like a major red flag to me. But my boyfriend was like, okay, Miranda, like maybe she's just going through a hard time. Like she just broke up with her boyfriend and like she works all the time. She's a server, and servers live a very hectic life just because they work weird hours and they're usually tired when they get home, so maybe she's just not focused on that. And I'm like, yeah, you're right, like you're absolutely right, maybe I should just, you know, just chill out. So I moved in anyways. Whenever I ended up coming that day, my room still was not done being cleaned. So my boyfriend and I put all of her trash and clothing in trash bags and just put it in her room. And I'm not talking about a little bit of stuff on the floor, like it was filled with shit, like filled. And so I just know that like I wouldn't do that to someone, right? No one can be that inconsiderate, right? So, you know, she's going through a rough time right now and she just didn't have time to do it, or maybe she forgot, or, you know. So I ended up moving in anyways.
You stupid.
And I ended up getting a little kitten, and she moved in with me, and it was wonderful for the first week. The first week was fantastic. My roommate said, I need to think of a name, I can't keep calling her my roommate. We'll call her Sadie, because I don't know a Sadie. Sadie said that I could decorate it any way that I wanted to because she trusted me and I had really good sense of style and whatever, and she was just made it a point to be like, yes, like do whatever you want, make it look awesome, I don't care. And I'm like, okay. I don't want to say thousands. I spent a lot of money decorating this place, and I made it look really, really cute, and especially compared to what it was before. I had artwork, I got a bunch of furniture, you know, I got a new kitchen table. It looked really nice, right? So after the first week of me moving in, I realized that her being sloppy and like gross, that's just how she was. It wasn't because she was going through a rough time. My boyfriend and I, he was such a doll throughout this whole thing, like he helped me so much, but we had cleaned the whole house. Like we had shampooed the carpets and we had wiped down all of the kitchen with like bleach and vinegar, and like it was just, we sanitized everything and we made it look so good. And she kept leaving her dirty dishes like on the coffee table and like with food on it, and she would go to work and then I'd come home and it's there, and then like she would fill up the sink with dishes and wait for me to do them. We didn't have a dishwasher, so like I'd do them by hand. And the weirdest thing that she did, she used to get like, you know, those cheap sticks of butter.
I don't know why she used so much butter. Like, I barely ever use butter. Like, I don't know.
But she would use butter every single day. I don't know why. And she would just leave the stick sitting on top of our microwave. Why wouldn't you just put it back in the fridge? It's gonna melt. So it would melt, and every day whenever I got home from work, there would be butter dripping inside the microwave on top of it on the kitchen counter, and I would have to clean it.
It was so frustrating. And I understand if it happened one time, like, mistakes happen, maybe you're in a hurry. It happened 6 days in a row. 6 days in a row, there was melted butter on my fucking microwave. Like, who does that?
It made no sense. And me being, like, the non-confrontational, just, like, person that I am and being too nice, I never said anything. I let it go because I'm like, I want this to work. I really, really need it to work. And, like, cleaning is kind of therapeutic for me, so like it was very annoying, but then like it didn't bother me that much, I guess, until I redid the bathroom completely. I bought new towels, like hand towels. I bought a new shower curtain and bath mats. 2 days after I bought all of that stuff, she got hair dye on my bath mat and didn't say anything, and then she used my hand towels as toilet paper.
Jesus Christ.
And instead of throwing them away, she put it underneath of the bathroom sink. I just don't understand why you would use someone's brand new hand towels as toilet paper. Couldn't live with myself if I did that. Just stuff like this would just keep happening over and over again, and I just didn't get it. Like, she went on a trip and then she left her suitcase in the middle of the floor, and I had to end up bringing it up to her bedroom because I was having company come over and I was embarrassed of it being there. Something else that really, really bothered me, right before I moved in, Sadie had bought a new sofa, and her old one, instead of getting rid of it like a responsible person would, she threw it in the backyard along with like probably like 10 trash bags, like big like black trash bags. They were all in the backyard, and my dad, being like the sweetest person, decided that he was going to help me out, and he was going to take the sofa and all of the trash to the dump for us. She clearly wasn't going to do it. So he did all of this for me, and her boyfriend were sitting in the living room on the couch while my dad, me, my boyfriend, and my mother were all out back, like, getting rid of trash that was not even mine. And they didn't say thank you to my family for it, so very, very rude. We've already established that she was very inconsiderate. She was extremely messy. I don't think that she was being malicious and mean. I just think that I don't know. I honestly don't know what was going through her head. She didn't comprehend, like, normal things that, like, my mom would kill me if I did any of this stuff. Like, I don't know how growing up, like, whatever. This brings me to the part in the story where everything kind of shifted, and like it wasn't like okay anymore, and it never was okay, but like I could tolerate it, I guess. She texted me and said, "Hey, my friend is getting rid of their cat and they need a place for it to stay for 1 week. Can it come over and live with us, and then after a week it'll be gone?" And I'm like, yes, like, of course. I love animals. Like, our kitten would love to have another cat to play with. I said her real name. What did I say her name was? Sadie. Sadie wasn't home. And she texted me and said, "Hey, they're gonna come drop off the cat. Are you home?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm home. I have a few friends here, but yeah, of course they can come." So they show up, and whenever they drop off the cat, the girl looks at me and she's like, "Thank you so much. I hope that he loves it here. I think this is going to be a great home for him." And I'm just kind of like,
I got a question!
So a few weeks go by and this cat is still at my house. And of course I didn't want to like put it on the street because I don't believe in doing that to animals. There's enough animals on the street. So I get a text from her one day that says, "We need to get rid of the cats." The cats? I'm like, okay, One of the cats you told me was going to be gone after a week. It's been here for, you know, a few weeks now. That's your responsibility. And number 2, I'm not getting rid of my cat. And she said, well, I'm allergic to cats, and I can't even stand being home because I'm sneezing constantly. Okay, well, Sadie, you knew this previously. Why would you have us adopt animals if you were allergic to them? That makes no sense. So that is your fault that you agreed to have them come live with us, and now they're bothering you. I am not getting rid of my cat. I'm not doing that. There's no way. Because I don't agree in taking in an animal and then a month later just, you know, getting rid of it because you were irresponsible. And then that caused basically the end of me living there. I only lived there for 2 months. She didn't reply to me saying I'm not getting rid of the cat, but she said, and also, I don't think I'm going to be able to renew the lease because I quit my job. So I moved all of my stuff into this house. I cleaned it spotless. We adopted a kitten. I spent so much money on this house. Like, I furnished the whole fucking thing. Like, the whole thing. And now I have to move out.
Mother trucker, dude. That hurt like a butt cheek on a stick.
And so I was kind of pissed off about it at this point, and like I was tired of her just walking all over me. She texted me that night and she was like, so are you gonna pay the last month's rent? I was being a little bit petty. I was like, well, you know, I don't know if I'm gonna pay because I deposit on a new apartment, and I also have to have the first month's rent plus my utilities, so I honestly don't have the money. I don't know what I'm gonna do. That's what I said. I didn't say I was not going to pay it. I just said I didn't know how I was going to be able to afford it, essentially. And then she didn't say anything back to me. And later that night, whenever I got home, I started packing my stuff, because if we were going to be leaving at the end of August, that wouldn't leave me much time, because I was going on vacation. I was going to Las Vegas, and I was also going to the beach. So I was really only going to be at home for like a week and a half in August, and I didn't want to have to be packing in between trips. So I was like, if I'm going to move out and this is going to happen, then I'm going to pack everything and I'm going to be gone before the last month, so I don't have to pay that rent, and I can just be done with it completely, since I'm not going to really be home anyways. So I packed all of my stuff, I got it all together, and Trevor was actually helping me. It's like 11:30, and I hear a knock on the door. And it is Sadie's mom.
What's up, man?
And I'm like, oh great. Sadie's told me about you before. Sadie says that you're crazy. I didn't say this out loud, but in my head I'm like, Sadie's told me that you're insane. Sadie told me she doesn't get along with you. Like, I don't know what's about to happen. She was very nice to me at first, and she was like, can I please come in? And I'm like, yeah, sure, because why would I be mean to her? So she comes in, and I am being very respectful. I'm, you know, especially to, I want to say adults, like I'm an adult, but you know what I mean, especially people that are older than me, and I just, you know, you're supposed to show them respect, and I was always raised that way. So I was very polite to her, and basically the conversation went, so you're not going to pay rent? And I'm like, well, I just don't know how I'm going to afford it, seeing as how I have to make a deposit or do a down payment and first month's rent on a new place. I'm going to try to come up with it though, don't worry. And then the conversation switched around. She started screaming at me, calling me names, cussing at me, basically telling me that I needed to get all of my shit out that night and pay rent that night, whenever rent wasn't even due yet. And she was going to call the cops on me, even though it wasn't her house. All of this stuff she was saying to me. She got out her phone and started, she would provoke me and say things to me and like get in my face like she was gonna like hit me and like expect me to react to it. And so like every time she would do something, she would get her phone out and start recording it, because like she expected me to like react in like just, you know, a violent way, I guess, or like say something to her that like she could get on camera. So obviously I didn't give her that, but Trevor was recording the whole thing, so I got her on camera just acting like a total psychopath, and I called my dad because she wouldn't leave. My dad ended up coming over, and while he was on the way over, she like got in my boyfriend's face and pushed him, and then she scratched him, and I have that on video. So she assaulted my boyfriend, and then, mind you, my roommate wasn't there. She called her mom to handle her business. She didn't talk to me at all in person. She just called her mom. Sadie ended up showing up a little bit before my dad did. And then when my dad got there, this woman was acting like I was being completely belligerent and just, you know, being ridiculous. And I think, like, to my dad, I think I called her the B word. But that's, like, the worst thing I think that I, like, actually said was, like, she was acting like a bitch. And I said that to my dad, and she, like, looked at him and was like, do you hear the way she's talking to me? And I'm like, I have a whole video of you cussing me out for an hour. Like, I have this video of you saying the worst possible things that you could say to someone to me. Like, I'm sorry, but, like, why are you trying to make my father mad at me for the way that you are acting? Like, whenever I argue with people, well, I don't argue with people, that's the thing, but I'm very level-headed and I'm very rational, and she was trying to just push my buttons and make me react to the way that she was handling it, I guess, and she was getting even more mad that I wasn't reacting in the way that she wanted me to. So they ended up leaving. Whenever my dad got there, he kind of, like, you know, calmed the situation, whatever, and then he was like, we're getting all your stuff out tomorrow. You're not staying another night in this house, so pack all of your stuff tonight. I don't care how late you have to stay up. We're getting you out of here. So the next day, my grandmother, thank the Lord for her, she went and got me a storage unit, and we got all of my stuff loaded into a U-Haul, and I have not seen her since. But a few weeks after, I already had another place at this point, but I was actually at my parents' house visiting, and my ex-roommate, and her dad knocked on my parents' door, because they didn't know where my new apartment was, but they knew where my parents lived. They knocked on my parents' door, and they were begging my dad to pay for August's rent. I didn't live there in August, but they were asking him for money. And my dad didn't pay it, of course, but I haven't seen him since, thank the Lord. And, you know, I used to get super heated whenever I would think about this and talk about it, but it's been so long now that it's all just kind of funny to me, and it's just, you know, definitely a learning experience. I just think that if you are moving in with someone just because you want to get out of the situation you're in, if your situation is not that bad, really, like, just wait. Just wait. I know living at home, like, kind of sucks, but really, like, you'll save money and avoid situations like this. And, like, imagine if I had been locked into a lease. It would have been so much worse. But anyways, so that is my story, and I hope at least someone found it entertaining. My life is crazy, and I have, like, a million stories of just, like, weird shit that happens to me. So if you liked this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to me if you want to see more. I hope you guys have a great day, and thanks for watching.